Yo, 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 welcome back, s'mores, to Beyond the Campfire. Everybody, part like the Red Sea. It's me, Yeehaw Yapper, with my brother, Legal Eagle Steve.
Legal. Oh boy, we've got quite the we've got quite the Beyond the Campfire episode for you guys today.
Yeah.
First one of 2025. Uh,
Well, technically, we're time traveling. We're actually in the year 1999.
yeah, that's right, that's right. We got a fun one for you guys today.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, if this is your first time listening to Beyond the Campfire, welcome. You can find us on all the socials at Beyond Campfire. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you like to social media. We are there. And yeah, we are a podcast about ghosts and cryptids and anything that goes bump in the night. So we hope that you will continue to follow along with us as we go into 2025 and beyond,
Yeah.
past or elsewhere. So
Yeah. So, yeah, as I said, we've got our parachute pants on. Our moon boots are strapped. The only one who was actually alive during Y2K was actually Steven. Um, I didn't exist until the end of January of 2000. That's when I was conceived, I'm pretty sure. But I was not born until October of 2000. So I never went through Y2K. Steven, before we go into it, how was Y2K for you as a 3-year-old?
as a 3-year-old, it was quite the time, man. We were getting high as a kite out there. But
I imagine like a little 3-year-old Steven. Binger, we're going to all die. Wave time.
right. Oh man. All right, but yeah. Y2K. Lead us. We'll hop in our time machine and will lead us through it.
All right. So we're going to start off with what is Y2K? Everybody has said, oh, Y2K, Y2K, or sometimes called Y2K bug. It has also been called the 2000s bug. And this basically the term Y2K actually comes from a numera. We're already going to get another conversation at the end of the year of me mispronouncing words, starting fresh. A numeranonym, a numeronom. It's
All right.
NUMER
In that 2025 compilation, are we?
numeronin.
Of By the way, if y'all have not seen the 2024 compilation of Will mispronouncing things, you should go back and watch that. But
Haley's getting us a total compilation of everything we've done wrong
right, but
in
Will
2020.
is getting an early start on the 2025 one.
Numeronim, combining the letter Y for years, the number 2, and K for kilo. So basically, Y2K literally is just year 2000. That's it. So Y2K was believed to be a bug that would kind of basically harm computers. And this is because there's a potential computer error related to formatting and storage of calendar data for dates in and after the year 2000. So the way computers worked back then, and this is the reason why they believed everything was just shut down, is because the way computers calculated dates back then was if you had like the year 1998, it would just be the last two numbers, 98, 1999, 99. So the problem was when we flipped over to the year 2000, those numbers obviously become 0, 0. The fear was that the computers would actually not know what's going on and would freak out thinking it's the year 1900. And this is basically what led so many people to believe that computers would just screw up, malfunction, and just kind of fall apart. And then the whole world would end. So, it sounds scary, but this is what a lot of people believe would have actually happened had Y2K happened. But any thoughts so far on the why Y2K would have happened the way it would have happened before we get into what could have happened?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's something that for that time you're really was a big fear. I mean, kind of is a fear now today as well, but I mean, with any computer viruses, you want to make sure all the technology is working fine, and if something can come and threaten that, then yeah, you're obviously gonna be afraid. So
Yeah. I mean, that's reasonable for people.
yeah,
And once you realize like what people feared could have happened, you kind of start to realize why a lot of people are afraid of this. So the biggest one, because I actually called my mom because I was trying to get some insider knowledge of how people thought about Y2K. She didn't believe the crap because my dad's an IT guy, so she's kind of like, it's fine. But a lot of people believe that what would happen would be like the banks would go down. And that was because a lot of people believe that there'd be miscalculations with transactions, interest rates, accounts balances, those sort of things. And this would just lead us to an economic turmoil. So that was one of the biggest fears, was that banks would just shut down. I think some sources I said believe like it would affect retirement, 401ks, all these systems would just stop because they couldn't compute right. And it just would lead to this whole economic problem. Another issue that a lot of people believed was it would actually cause harm to the power grid. And this is because if there would be disruptions to the system's, functions that could lead to blackouts. So we've already got banks failing and going crazy. We've got blackouts, transportation. Now, a lot of people thought that Y2K would cause planes to fall out of the sky. That's not actually true. Planes weren't going to fall out of the sky. They wouldn't fly backwards either. Um, but what would actually have happened is there was automated scheduling and controlling systems for these planes, and some of these, like even cargo ships and all of this, like all transportation ran on these systems, that it would probably lead to delays. Um, I'm trying to read my handwriting. So there would be delays. There would just be a mismatch of trying to figure out where this is supposed to go, and it would just lead to disaster basically because of the way computers would have been processing. Um, there was also a fear for health and safety, that medical equipment emergency resources for scheduling and record keeping would fail, and this would put people like at risk with health. And then the worst one of all, which not a lot of sources would actually point to this one, but a lot of people believe that what actually could have happened from Y2K is that the missile computers for nuclear weapons could have gotten all screwy too, and that nukes would have launched, and we would have been launched into a nuclear apocalypse.
man, yeah. So there was really just a lot of yeah. I mean, it makes sense. A millennium doesn't happen. Every now
Mhm.
and then. Really, I guess since using the Julian calendar, it's really only happened twice. That was only the second time it was happening. So yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I mean, people knew that the millennium was coming up, though. So for me, I was just like, all these computer geeks and nerds and stuff would have anticipated what was happening, right?
Well, that's what I'm fixing to get to. I'm fixing to actually get into how they actually solved the problem.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
but I was actually going to put something in. Did you know there was actually a Y2K in 2022?
In 2022,
Yep, there
like
was a Y2K in 2022. According to my research,
uh,
um, let me see if I can find it. Um, sorry, give me a second. Um, there was actually two other Y2K moments. There's one in so there was one that occurred in there's the year 2038 problem, and then there was one in 2022 which um that didn't really happen. But so there's the Y2K 38 problem, which was where some systems that store time, they use a 32-bit Unix time format. And that Unix time system counts the number of seconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970, known as the Unix epoch. The problem would arise with the 32-bit system can store only a limited number of seconds, which results in an overflow issue on January 19th, 2038. So what that impact from Y2K 38 would do, at this point, systems that use 32 bit time format may interrupt the time as negative or incorrectly processed data, potentially causing failures in systems such as financial institutions, embedded systems, transportation, and even communications. The long-term solution is to migrate systems to 64-bit architecture, which would provide a much larger time range, effectively eliminating the issue. So yeah, there could be another Y2K in 2038.
Look at that. So not only did we time travel back to 1999 and to 2022, but we are possibly zooming ahead to
The future.
2038. Yeah. So
Which,
I
like I said, that's happening in 2038. But like they said, all they got to do is take this stuff and then transfer it to 64-bit. That shouldn't be too hard.
How old will you be in 2038?
I'll be 38.
You'll be 38. I will be. How old will I be?
Oh gosh, I'll have a teenager too.
I'll be 41, I guess. No.
Yeah, hopefully.
No.
I'll be 38. You'll be 41
Yeah.
because you're 3 years older than me.
41. That's crazy. Wow.
And you know what's even crazier?
What's that?
My son, who is not even here yet, who could be here at any moment, will be 13.
Man, he'll be a teenager.
I'll have a teenager.
Wow. Wild stuff, man. Life comes at you fast.
It does. It's crazy. Yeah, so that's kind of what Y2K was. That's what they believed would happen. I mean, pretty much sum it up. Computers couldn't comprehend, going from 1999 to 2000 because the way the digits were with 99 to 00, confusing it, leading to global catastrophes, banking, transportation, power grids, all this stuff would just shut down. But they were actually able to prevent this through an extensive global effort involving both preventive measures and extensive remediation of computer systems. And I kind of have a list written out of how they actually did it with steps. So the first thing they did was they identified the vulnerable systems. They identified vulnerable systems audit and assessments. So they first had to identify what was at risk. Okay, when we swap over, what systems will be at risk with Y2K? Then that would be governments, businesses, organizations conducted through audits of their computer system, software, and hardware to determine whether they used a 2-digit format for years, example 99, like we said. So that was kind of the first thing, was they took audits of everybody's computer, like these major businesses, these major government institutions, and went through each computer, every single one, to see who had one of these that would be the two-number system, the 2-digit format for years. Those computers then were flagged for being at risk. So then they had critical infrastructure analysis. So special attention was given to critical infrastructure systems such as power grids, water systems, financial institutions, transportation, telecommunications. These systems would cause the most widespread disruptions if they failed. So they went through the audit, went through every single computer that the government had, that business had, that all these places had. And then what they did was they then determined which ones were the most critical, that if they failed, like if Y2K actually did happen, which one of these would cause the most, problems from that. And then from there, the next step they did was code modification. So they rewrote the software. Once systems were identified, softwares that used the 2-digit date format, they were modified. Basically, programs worked on updating the code to accommodate 4-digit years. So then instead of being 99, they would actually say 1999, swap over, ensuring that dates that after 2000 were processed correctly. In many systems, developers expanded date fields from 2 digits to 4 digits, so 00 will be understood as 2000 instead of 1900. So then they said, these are the computers that are the problems. These are the ones that are going to cause the most issues. Then they went in there and they modified the code so that instead of saying 00, it would say actually the year 2000. After that, they ran some tests. So after the code was updated, systems underwent rigorous testing. This included running simulations of the transition to the year 2000 to see if they could handle the changeover. Tests were conducted to see how systems would react when the date changed, and any failures were addressed immediately. This included testing with software, hardware, embedded systems, and networks. Bunch of big boy words for Elmo. So they tested it, it worked. They would then do data cleanup. So some databases had date related data that was corrupted or incorrectly formatted. So part of the remediation involved correcting these issues to prevent errors when the new century began. Some tools were created to automatically convert date-related information to the correct format, ensuring that old data could work with newer systems. They then created critical systems were then backed up in case the remediation efforts didn't work or unforeseen issues arose. This included ensuring the data and software could be restored quickly if a failure occurred. There was also then fallback plans were created, included manual workarounds, alternate systems, and strategies for continuing operations if failures occurred. Governments, international organizations, and businesses work together, sharing information about potential vulnerabilities and remediating techniques. For example, the U.S. government set up initiatives to guide businesses on addressing the Y2K problem. Government and organizations also educate the public and provide guidance to help people understand the importance of the issue. So they figure out which computers are the problem. They create the codes. They run the codes. They test the codes. When all that works, they create a fallback plan, and then they kind of get this information out to everybody saying, this is what you need to do to fix this problem.
Okay. So there was a lot of anticipation of this
Yeah.
thing, and they made sure that they wanted to put all the things together so that Y2K doesn't even end up happening. So
right. So then they rolled out the software patches. Many companies and organizations rolled out software patches and updates, which were pushed to systems that were connected to the internet. This helped to correct issues in systems without needing a full overhaul. Software vendors even helped their customers by providing updated versions of their programs, ensuring that applications were Y2K compliant. Thousands of IT professionals, programmers, and specialists worked around the clock to address the Y2K problem. Many dedicated their full time to ensuring systems were Y2K compliant. Overtime and extended hours. Due to the urgency of the situation, many IT professionals worked long hours, including weekends and holidays, to finish testing and modification before the millennium. Which actually have a cool fact. So, as I told you guys, my dad worked in IT. My mom told me this when I was asking her about Y2K. My dad actually was one of those people that got paid overtime because he was figuring out the ways to fix Y2K. So I thought that was kind of cool. My dad stopped Y2K.
that is really cool. Look at that.
My dad's smart. What can I say?
I
Bet all you guys wish your dad was as cool as my dad.
you might get into this in the next section, but are you going to talk about what do you think would have happened had Y2K actually had gone through?
I have my own kind of personal theories, and we'll probably get into that once I'll finish like reading about how
it was stopped.
how Y2K got fixed, because I got like one more system, and then after that, like Y2K still kind of happened technically. I'll get into that, and then I guess we can kind of go into what we think would have happened if Y2K had happened.
Okay. Yeah. That
So
sounds
then,
good.
on the night of December 31st, 1999, New Year's Eve, many organizations set up control centers to monitor systems in real time as the clock struck midnight. This allowed them to quickly identify and address any potential issues as they arose. Governments and industries kept a close eye on emerging issues, ready to respond to problems quickly. So they've created all these codes, they fixed the computers, they figured out a way to do that, and then just to make sure they had fallback plans, they got this out to people. So not only was government people getting this, like we would have gotten it, we could have bought a program from Radio Shack, RIP, to help us with our problem. And then that night, to make sure everything ran smoothly, they didn't just say, okay, you guys got the program, we got a fallback plan, we're good. They kept monitoring it, and everything went fine. Here we are today. After January 1st, there were reports of only minor glitches and problems, far fewer than anticipated. This led to a widely reviewed success story as the full scale of the disaster that some had feared didn't materialize. So because of all these men's efforts and overtime and all that, they stopped Y2K. Even if it was actually going to be as bad as we thought it was going to be. It was eventually stopped, and a couple minor glitches. We made it. Here we are, 2025, still kicking. My dad stopped Y2K, guys.
When did Terminator come out?
That was the 90s.
Okay, yeah. I wonder like how much of those fears played into what people were expecting during
Well,
Y2K.
Terminator, I don't think it was a response to kind of like what? Yeah. Oh, my bad. Terminator came out in 1984.
Oh, okay. Oh, so way, way even before. So
Well, the first Terminator came out, and then Terminator 2: Judgment Day came out in 91.
okay.
I don't think it played too big of a role,
Yeah, probably not. If it's
just because like I think that's more. I think if anything, Terminator is what plays into the fear today of like AI.
yeah, for sure.
You know, like what if AI took over and
Yeah.
your Alexa is gonna shoot you in your sleep?
I wonder with the 2038 Y2K coming up, I wonder because you got to think if AI is getting as advanced as it is now, imagine what it'll look like in 13 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to be why that's going to play a role. All these young kids are going to be looking in their grandpa's basement because I have a 13-year-old, so his granddad watched Terminator. Like find an old VHS of Terminator, and they're all going to be freaked out. They're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, the AI is going to take over."
There you go, man.
So yeah, Y2K. What do you think could have happened? We're going into alternate scenarios. What do you think would have happened had they not responded the way they did? If we just said it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, if they hadn't responded the way that they did, probably, I mean, some of the things that people were afraid about probably would happen. I mean, things like I don't know if there would be nuclear codes going off or anything like that, but I do think that you would have some kind of financial strain, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think of like a lot of the um, what's it called, cryptocurrency scandals that have been happening lately, where
Yeah.
put a lot of money into something and then all of a sudden the money's just gone.
Gone.
It's like
Yeah. Don't worry. We're not making s'more coin, okay? We're
no
not
more,
going that low.
no more coins,
First off, we're not that popular.
unless you guys want it. But but
S'more coin. Great, Steven. We're joining Hawk Tua and Mr. and what was it? Logan Paul that also did it?
yeah, yeah, all these celebs with their coins. So
Yeah, I
uh,
don't get why people are trying to make.
even coin or will coin.
Have you seen Squid Game season 2 yet?
No, I haven't. I need to go see that.
They really have kept up with like modern times.
Oh yeah.
One of the guys in there created his own coin
Oh really? Oh, I need to watch it. That's funny.
and he scanned people basically, and he's in there because he's in debt. That's the only spoiler I'm giving you. Is there's a guy in Squid Games who created his own. He was a
Right,
YouTuber, created his own coin,
Mr. Beast.
scammed people, and he's now having to play the Squid Games.
That's hilarious.
It's like they really kept up with modern times. It's hilarious.
All right, I'll need to give it a watch at some point.
I think what could have happened. I think it was too high. I think it was hyped up. I think the problem with like a lot of these end of the world scenarios, like 2012, for example, I think we hype it up way too much. And we're like, the world's going to end. It's all going to happen. And then it gets way too hyped up and it doesn't happen because we blow it out of proportion. I think I'm going to give I'm going to give a funny / not serious answer and a really serious answer. My non-serious answer, I think what would happen if Y2K did happen, I think nukes would have gone off. I think we would have nuked each other and we'd be living in Fallout. We'd have
That
no airplanes.
that's your funny answer.
That's my funny answer. You guys seen Fallout, the TV show, and the video games? Yep,
I played the video games. I haven't seen the show.
the show is really good. They're actually, I think they're coming out with season 2 this year.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
we'll be.
the Last of Us show wasn't great in my opinion.
I
So
like the Fallout show. The Fallout show actually
okay.
redeemed it because I liked how they incorporated the way the game works and everything like that. It was very interesting. But yeah, that's
Okay.
my non-serious answer. We would all be living in Fallout. We'd all have our buddy dog meat. And
I have to add that to my list of things to watch. So
but my non-serious answer is, like I said, I think we probably blew things out of proportion, and I don't think much would have happened. You know, So that's my answer. This was kind of a short episode, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
think we did good. I think we had a good episode, though. Sorry
yeah,
for boring everybody with the technical talk earlier with the programming. That was hard to research.
yeah. No, hey, you got to do what you got to do. But hey, I mean, new start to the year. As far as I know, there's no Y2K 2025 or anything like that coming out. So,
Not that we know of. Terminator.
but yeah, I mean, I don't think the S'mores will mind a shorter episode today.
No. I think, and by the way, guys, shout out to my wife. She's the one that gave me the idea to do this episode because I was trying to find something to do. And here we are, Y2K.
Here we go.
So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Beyond Campfire. Follow us on TikTok at Beyond the Campfire. We got great reels coming out. So if you missed some of these episodes or you watch these episodes and you forget some funny stuff, don't worry. Haley's got you covered. We've got a great lineup coming out soon of new episodes. I'm really excited for some of the topics we're actually covering. We're trying to dive away from some of the more like I'm trying to think of like popular topics. Everybody's heard of Chupacabra. Everybody's heard of Bell Witch. Everybody's heard of all this. We're trying to mediate away from that so that we have some more unique stuff to talk about. We got a really cool episode next week. I'm really excited for. And stay tuned for that. But until then, Yeehaw Yapper and Legal Eagle are out.